So I don't know if they're,
One is wash coat B. Two is A.
3 is A.
What was two?
A,
3 is
D.
D.
Oh, no,
A.
3 is A.
3 is
4
A.
B.
4 is B.
4 is B?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pre-cat and post-cat
Other
oxygen
converter
sensor.
can be harmed by any of these.
5 is D. 6 is C. 7 is B. The outlet should be hotter than the inlet by 10% if the converter is working properly.
Oh, what page is that on?
8 is B.
Oh, here it is,
So they got that little scanner.
page 1014.
9
Little
is B.
infrared temp gun.
8 is B?
Outlet should be hotter.
Yeah.
9 is B.
Technician, this is like catalytic converter is
7, that's on
warranted
page
for,
10.
oh, 10 we haven't done.
10 we haven't done.
Technician A says that the catalytic converter is warranted for 8 years or 80,000 miles, whichever
Well,
comes
that
first.
depends on the vehicle. But yeah, okay, let's just say it is.
Technician B says that after replacing the catalytic converter, the old converter must be kept for possible inspection for 60 days, which technician is correct.
Yeah, that's a stupid question.
So it's just A.
Yeah, because if you do any job under warranty, you have to turn the part in.
Right
The
away.
dealership is required to keep it for a certain amount of time, and then they can throw it away.
Okay.
And the reason is, if the manufacturer decides they're gonna audit that dealer, they have to produce a part. Let's say you put a turbocharger on a car, and it was under warranty, you turn this back in the parts department, they put it in the warranty room. If the dealer, or if the manufacturer decides they wanna audit that dealer, and they pull that repair order, and they say, where's the turbocharger that came off of this car that, Maurice replaced? They wanna look at it.
Yeah.
So they're required to hang on to those parts for a certain amount of time, and then they can dispose of them.
Got it.
So that's kind of what they're getting at here. All right, let's go through these last two and
Let's get out of here.
we'll get going.
Some tripping.
No.
Purpose and function of the systems, continuous, non-continuous monitors. Codes are numbered according to designation groups, okay? 100, 200, 300, they all mean something. They're all for a specific area of the vehicle. Displaying information captured by freeze frame criteria to enable an OBD monitor. DCM test related to the systems. Operation of global scan tools, all light duty vehicles, weighing less than 8,500 pounds, sold in North America since 1996, as well as medium duty vehicles beginning 2005, blah, 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 right? They all have to have a standardized diagnostic link connector. That means your 16-pin diagnostic connector. They're all the same for those vehicles, okay? Obviously, heavy-duty vehicles didn't have to have it. Medium and heavy-duty didn't have to have it till later, but everything from 2010 up, no matter what it is, has to have that. The objective of your OBD2 system is to detect a degradation or faulty emissions-related system that prevents compliance with federal emission standards, which we talked about before. If it's 1.5 times the federal test procedure, it will turn the light on. Standardized diagnostic trouble codes and generic scan tools should be able to read powertrain codes, but that's pretty much it. Typical malfunction indicator lights, servicing you soon. Check engine, or just a picture of an engine, or the outline of an engine. Okay, we don't have to worry too much about these. There's certain areas of the diagnostics that are designed to do certain things to, like, get able to go through the sequence of steps necessary to execute certain tests and monitors. Ford and GM calls that the diagnostic executive task manager on Chrysler, but again, don't really have to worry about that. As far as monitors go, that's an organized method of testing a specific part of a system. They have component monitors, comprehensive component monitors, I should say. Misfire type A, type B, fuel trim, oxygen sensor, oxygen sensor heater, catalyst, EGR. Basically, every system on the vehicle gets monitored by these systems. We constantly check them to make sure that they're working properly. You can check inputs and outputs electrically. Inputs to the ECM are tested for rationality. Outputs are tested for functionality. Okay, so what does that mean? Inputs are tested for rationality. Inputs are sensors, switches, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So what that means is they are testing these sensors and stuff constantly to see if what they're telling the PCM makes sense. Sometimes in European vehicles, they'll call that plausibility. Maybe you'll see a trouble code that says, throttle position sensor voltage not plausible. That means based on the other information from the other sensors, this one doesn't make sense. So it's going to set a code for that particular sensor, high voltage, low voltage, whatever it happens to be, okay? Same thing with, that's what they're calling rationality. It doesn't make sense. Functionality for outputs. It can actually test an output because an output is something that PCM controls, right? So let's say I wanted to do a functionality test on the fan relay. It can do that. It can ground the fan relay, see if the fan comes on. So it checks it. Does it work? Okay? Those run continuously. Continuous monitors run and continuously only stop, and if they fail, and include fuel, rich, lean, catalyst, misfire, stuff like that. We don't have to worry about once per trip, that kind of stuff, but they'll go into how some of this stuff works with the scan tool. A monitor run once per trip, pass or fail. Those are some of the things it will check. Exponentially weighted or moving average, you don't have to worry about that one either. Okay. Enabling criteria for each monitor. The set of conditions must be met before it can go ahead and run it. These are the ones that get cleared. If you clear the codes on a car or disconnect the battery, all the emissions monitors get cleared. They have to run again and pass in order for the car to be able to pass an emission test. A trip is what they call a key-on condition that contains the necessary conditions for a particular test to be performed, followed by a key-off warm-up cycle. That's a trip with an engine temperature increase of at least 40 degrees where the engine temperature has reached at least 160. Malfunction indicator lamp off. That means the PCM has not detected any faults in the emissions related systems, and that is actually working. If it's on steady, that means it indicates a fault in the emissions related system. That means if your check engine light is on. You know if the check engine light is flashing, that's a problem, right?
Yes.
Did yours start flashing when your car was misfiring? Before you took it in? It did, didn't it?
Yeah, I didn't told because I didn't drive it.
Yeah. So the reason is the check engine light can come on for a million different reasons, right? Sometimes it's not an emergency. Sometimes it's like, okay, I need to get it checked out, but I don't need to pull over on the side of the road. I don't need to get my car towed up, you know. It's not something that's going to cause me to not get where I'm going or cause my engine to have a meltdown or whatever, right? The reason they do this is to get your attention. If that check engine light is flashing, that's a problem. You should not drive it any farther than you absolutely have to. This is why.
So a solid light is better than a flashing light.
Much better.
A flashing light
Yeah.
is more urgent.
The only time that's going to flash is if you have a misfire severe enough to damage a catalytic converter. Okay? Because catalytic converters are expensive. If you can help it, don't drive it any farther than you absolutely have to if this condition happens.
Could you damage the cat without the light being on?
Well, over time you could.
Okay.
If it just had a little bit of, let's say it burned coolant every once in a while, but not enough to really cause a problem over, maybe if it did that for 10 years, it might eventually degrade the catalytic converter enough that it would fail.
Okay.
But for the most part, this is the one you need to be a little bit more concerned with, and that's why they flash the light, to get your attention. It's not just on, it's going, hey, look at me. Plus, you're gonna notice your car's running like crap. You're gonna notice it, okay? If it's off, obviously everything is probably okay. Three main categories for trouble codes. P codes are powertrain, B are body, C are chassis, U codes are network communications. We've talked about all those before. This is how they number them. Anything with a 100 is air metering fuel system, 200 injector, 300 ignition system, 400 emission, 500's idle speed control, 600 computer outlet, relay, solenoid, stuff like that. 700 codes are transmission transaxle, okay? They are designed to be categorized as far as, you know, what system it has to do with by the numbers. And of course there's A, B, C, and D type. A is emissions related, causes the malfunction indicator lamp to come on the first trip when the problem has been detected. Second trip for certain B code, C and D are for non-emissions related. Priority, 0, 1 through 4. Obviously, 1 is 1 trip, 2, 1 trip failure. And remember, the trip is defined as a key on ignition with certain conditions are met in order for it to run a certain test. And again, you don't have to worry too much about those, just giving you a little bit idea how that works. So, how would you diagnose this trouble code as far as what was what? Obviously, powertrain. The 0 is going to be generic, meaning everybody uses this, okay? The 4, there you go, mission system, right? 2, or actually the next 2 digits are gonna be catalytic converter. That's gonna be actually bank 1, bank 2. If it has 2, P0430 would be bank 2. If it has a 1 after the P, that means it's not generic, that means it's manufacturer specific. That means whatever vehicle you're working on, they're the only one that uses that code, okay? If it's a 0, it's generic, that means everybody uses that, okay? Everybody knows how to hook up a scan tool?
Yes.
Okay, another example. P0302, P, powertrain, 0, generic. See where it says 1, manufacturer specific? If this was a 1, again, that just means that that manufacturer is the only one that uses that code. System, specific fault designation. In this case, cylinder number 2 misfire. P0300 would mean the PCM has detected a random misfire, but it can't identify a specific cylinder. If it can identify a specific cylinder, it's going to be right here. With cylinder number 1, that's going to be 301. 2, 2 cylinder 3, and on down the line, right? Okay, up to most cars. Well, if it's an 8 cylinder, obviously that could be up to an 8. P0308 would be cylinder number 8 misfiring. And if it happens to be a 10 or a 12 cylinder, obviously there's 2 digits there, so it can take up to however many cylinders it happens to have. All right, freeze frame. That's to assist the technician, requires the computer to take a snapshot of all of the data in an instant on a emissions-related diagnostic trouble code. So as soon as your car turns the check engine light on for emissions-related trouble code, it's going to snapshot what was going on in that code set. And you can go back in the scan tool and look at that. Okay? It's going to give you all kinds of information like you see here. Calculated engine value, load value, engine speed, your fuel trim numbers, coolant temperature, intake manifold pressure, open and closed loop, stuff like that. All that is going to be contained in there. Global disable conditions. Under some conditions, PCM will not run a monitor if the mill is illuminated and the fault is stored from another one.
Are you asking?
I'm sorry, what's that?
I'm sorry, I was highlighting.
I didn't hear what you said.
Were you asking the question?
No.
Oh, okay.
If there are also situations where the PCM cannot run a monitor if another one is in progress, occasional PCM may not allow a two-trip fault to material. Okay. Some of the tests it runs, rationality, which we've talked about a minute ago, compares the input signals from other sensors. Does it make sense under the current conditions? Functionality, does it actually work? Okay? PCM can do a functionality test on outputs, rationality for inputs. Okay? It can also do electrical tests. It can check for open circuits, short to voltage, short to ground, stuff like that. It can run those tests also.
Hey, Ron. Yeah, we'll be taking the final
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yep. It's going to be 55 questions, and it's going to be mostly regarding what we've done in the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. So, okay.
We're gonna see some questions on your answer before.
I'll give you an idea of what's going to be on it. We'll have time to kind of go over that tomorrow before we take it. So,
Alright, bet.
okay. And then Wednesday will be the last two. The test we normally do is going to cover 86 to 90, and then the ASE before we end the class. Okay.
Are we going to Delicious Thursday or not?
I'm sorry.
You go to Delicious Thursday or not?
Yeah. Thursday, Friday's graduation, so pretty much Thursday be last day there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The tools just got delivered today, I guess. Speaking of that, I got to. send that invoice.
Anybody else got a good job?
No, me and Marty got the job on.
Me too.
Did anybody else get a good job?
Okay, where are we at? All OBD2 vehicles must be able to display data on a global, also generic scan tool, under 9 different modes of operation. Okay. Yeah, don't worry about that. Rationality, comparison of an input to another input, see if it makes sense in the current conditions that we talked about already. All right.
Do we need to know the hexadecimal?
Hexadecimal thing? No, I don't think so. What page is that on?
That's
The last
1025 and 1026.
Let me look. I don't think so.
The global data is used by most state emission programs. Global OBD2 displays often use hexadecimal numbers, which use 16 numbers instead of 10. The numbers 0 to 9 make up the first 10, and in capital letters.
What page did you say that was on?
1025 and 1026. And mode 6.
Oh, no. Don't worry about that.
No,
Oh,
okay.
you're okay there.
And what about diagnosing problems using mode 6?
Which is where?
last
1026,
page.
the last page. Mode 6 information can be used to diagnose faults by following 3 steps. Monitor status.
Okay, so what they're telling you there is the steps for that would be a monitor status before starting repair. This step shows how, okay. So that's gonna tell you how the system failed. It's gonna tell you what triggered it, help pin down the root cause of the failure. Honestly, you're not gonna need a chart like that to help you out. If you look up, have you been with techs at the dealer when they have a certain trouble code on a car, comes in with a check engine light, They get on their computer, they have their factory software for, you know, everything. And they'll look it up, and it tells them exactly what's going on, what the conditions are for that to set. You can also look at the scan tool, like on a freeze frame, stuff like that. Okay, what exactly was the car doing when that code was triggered? So those are really the things you're gonna look at. You don't have to worry too much about this.
Okay.
Your information that you get at the dealer is gonna be more helpful,
Okay.
you know, than, because the book can somebody be confusing, because it's trying to describe, you know, in a global sense, how these things work. And when you're working on a specific vehicle, you're gonna have the information that you need for, that's gonna help you the most.
Okay.
Did you guys go through those, quizzes that you mentioned? Yeah, did those? Did you get all right in? Did you know which questions you're gonna have to pay attention to that you might see tomorrow, or? You might, be able,
Said 3.
you can get those from one of the other students that were here if you want to. I'm sure they would be happy to help you out.
Oh, and I know you said that we did not, I'm not sure I missed it. Did you say that we do not need to know about the continuous running monitors or something? What did you say that we didn't need to know about? Somewhere in the middle, I missed it, I was highlighting. Was it the once per trip monitors or something?
Don't let this get you down a rabbit hole you don't need to go down. A lot of this is just information on how a scan tool works,
Okay.
how it monitors certain codes, how long before that light comes on. If it sees a failure in a certain system, the first time it sees it, it's gonna turn a light on. If it's a different system and sees a failure, it might go, okay, well, let's see if it happens again. Okay, well, it happened again, we got a problem. Don't get too wrapped up in that.
Okay.
Okay? We talked about the drive cycle before. That's actually on 1022. It's a big green box on your frequently asked question.
Yeah.
Drive cycle is not gonna be the same for every car, but it is basically just driving the car under certain conditions to get the emissions monitors to run once they've been cleared.
I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to the bathroom.
Question. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
I missed you, Anna.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9
Everybody got all that done?
No.
No?
They're going easy. Was it? Yeah, they're going easy. Ours and with ours and more than that. Right, quick now. Huh?
I'm gonna make a special test just for you,
Okay.
okay? And one of the questions is gonna be, what is the ignition timing on a 64 Chevy Bel Air with a 3.7? And what's the answer? You don't know, huh? Your favorite movie, you don't know the answer.
Because
4
I'm trying to
degrees before top dead
memorize,
center.
I'm trying to memorize the whole thing that she says. The whole thing.
Okay, let's go through this, we're running out of time. Well, we can do the last chapter tomorrow if we have to, it's no big deal. It's a quickie anyway. So, we can save 90 tomorrow, it just talks about scan tools, so. We don't necessarily have to get through this right now, so. Let's just do 90 tomorrow morning. All right. So,
Are you sure?
yeah, absolutely, we got plenty of time. We only got one more chapter in 2 days, we'll be fine. We got plenty of time for review and plenty of time for practice test questions.
Bless your soul.
Plenty of time to get you ready to finish this class and be done coming here. Not gonna be exciting? Car still running good there, Monty? Yeah? I didn't hear you come in today. Did you quiet it down again?
Nah, I had to put the mufflers on, so it's not as loud.
Yeah, 'cause when you said you were just around the corner, I was like, oh, yeah, here it comes. But I saw you before I heard you. Normally it's the other way around.
Yeah, I look, you want to take it back off, cause I miss it.
It's too quiet for you?
Yeah, I got used to the loud sound.
Me and running around cars, like, living in the neighborhood, you started at night.
Hey Ron,
Mhm.
how much would you charge if someone say they want to swap it in, want you to swap it in?
Depends on what it
And the
is.
car is not supposed to have that engine.
Oh, that could get heavy. 'Cause the last engine swap, I quoted a guy, just my labor was $2,000.
Mhm.
And that was to put the correct engine back in it, a complete factory crate engine. So if the engine doesn't belong in there, that could get, that could go, who knows? I would
It's
even do a
enough space
quote
for
on
that,
that.
I'm pretty sure.
It's like saying.
It's the same manufacturer, it's Chrysler and Dodge,
Mhm.
but putting like a Hellcat engine into a Chrysler 300.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah. It depends on if it actually is a direct bolt-in and the computer would have to be changed, maybe wiring harness, who knows? Just depends on what engine it had. I mean, if you're taking out a 6-cylinder, putting in an 8, you know, that obviously requires a lot more work. You know, some things will work, some things won't work, so it could get pretty expensive to do something like that. So I wouldn't even take on a job like that, honestly. I just don't have that kind of time to spend on one job like that. And typically, if you're gonna do something like that, it's a losing proposition if you're trying to make money on it. Because you'll have 1,000 hours in it and you get paid for 100, you know? Unless it's something you've done before and you know exactly what you gotta do, and I'm just, you know, wouldn't be something I would do though, yeah.
How much would you charge if you were to do it? Like, if you did, like, if you wanted to do it, what would you charge?
If I was going to do it, it would depend. If I had done it before and I knew how to do it and all that kind of stuff, I probably still wouldn't do it for less than $2,000.
There's something off for 10,000.
I'm sorry?
There's something off for 10,000.
I'd probably be persuaded to do it, yeah.
Do what?
5,000 up front, 5,000 when it's done. Typically on a big job, that's what I tell the customer. If I'm gonna charge you $3,000 labor to do a job, you're gonna give me 1,500 up front, 1,500 when it's done. So, you know,
You get at least half your money.
yeah,
Now, what if they don't pay you upon completion? Do you
then
keep
they don't
the
get their car
car?
back.
That's what I said.
So they always do, if they want their car. Yeah. Plus, I don't deal with shady people. I've never had any problem with anybody. I just, you know, if I don't know the person or it wasn't a recommendation, if this person seems a little shady or a little like they may or may not have the money to pay, or they might be one of those people that gets weird and, you know, says, I'm taking my car whether I pay you or not, and puts a gun in your, you know what I'm saying? I just don't deal with shady people, so luckily I've never had any problems like that. And I've been doing this for over 40 years, so.
Oh, wow, that's good.
Okay, let's do this. Question 1. Looking at the way diagnostic codes are formatted, what would indicate that the gas cap might be loose or defective?
Is it B?
B-U-D,
That's a D.
C.
Come on now.
There's got a one.
B0442, 400.
400. Emission control system.
Where is that at? Cause on the list where it has those, it just gives you the, like a.
On page 1023?
You eliminate the P1, right? The one,
All right.
I was on page 1023. I don't know where anybody else.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
1023,
P01.
P0400.
That's why.
400s are emission control system.
So that's what it would be under, a loose gas
I see
cap?
what I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, because that's evaporative emission.
Cause see, okay.
I thought it was so this one's P1603. I thought it was P1000 and then P2000, P3000, not P0300.
Oh.
I saw it differently. I was, I don't know.
Oh,
That's where I got that
damn,
messed
I
up
did
at.
that too.
Yeah.
I just realized
And I didn't,
that.
you said B, I'm like, oh shit, that's probably closer
I
to it anyway. I'm about to
see
go.
that 1-3, that
Yeah.
1-3, oh.
Yeah, I see it now though.
Dang on it.
Yeah, P0442.
In fact, if you look on 1037 under the trouble codes, it's the next chapter, but if you look on 1037 under P0442,
Oh, wow.
Yep,
evaporative
control
emission system
defective.
leak detected, meaning the gas cap might be loose, defective, broken, something like that, okay?
I see it.
Okay,
Now, would that cause a fuel smell
yes.
when you turn it off?
It could, yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Oh, I fixed my belt, by the way.
Did
I
not
tightened
squeal it
it.
no more?
No.
Oh, did ya?
It just needed to be tightened.
Did that noise go away?
Yeah.
Sweet.
All it needed was to be tightened more.
Good,
And that was it.
good.
How long did it take you to do that?
2 seconds.
Oh my god.
I mean, it was just.
See how much easier it is once you've done it once?
Yeah, and all I had to do was just, torque it more.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, again, you work at the dealership, you might spend, let's say 2 hours doing this job, whatever it is, the first time you do it. And maybe it only paid you an hour and a half. You're like, shit, I lost 30 minutes of my time on this job. But, well, guess what? The next time you do it, you're gonna do it half the time. The next time, you're gonna get to where you can do it in 20 minutes. And now you're still getting paid for 2 hours. That's where, again, repeat jobs and repeat problems that you're gonna get at the dealers, that's how you make your money, because you get good at doing this, because you've done it 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Question. Ron,
Mm-hmm.
so if you don't have a list for the tools and everything, how are we supposed to know we're getting everything that we're supposed to get?
Because the guys at Cadillac know exactly what goes in each toolkit, because they.
So when I get up there, I can ask them for a list?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So I'll make sure, cause when I go down there, I'm gonna mark everything out, cause what's his name, Alex said, like, when he went up there to get his tools, they were just trying to get him out of there. They missed like 4 things, so he had to go back and let them know as he was like going through everything. They were just trying to hurry up and get him the fuck out of there. So
Yeah.
when I go up there, I'm gonna make sure I
Well-
get everything.
If they still have them upstairs, because none of them are down in that tool room anymore, as I recall. Maybe I'll go in there one day and just separate them all into, this goes with this goes with, and that way there's no confusion, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But, Aiden knows what goes in all of them. I used to use him, to just help the guys out when they come in. He'd go up there and go, okay, I know exactly what, what each person gets, because I've had him do that for a bunch of students.
Gotcha.
And he works there anyway, so he's already there.
Okay.
I have another question, I'm sorry, on top of that, impacts. When should we purchase those? Like, I already have some.
They're gonna give us impact.
Who?
Snap on.
No, they're not.
Yeah, you get one, yeah.
Yeah, the dude that works
It's
on
in
home,
the
he used to
tool.
go here. He showed me everything that he gets.
Maybe we get impacts too?
We get impacts, we get Blue Point tools,
Mhm.
we get all types of shit, bro, that's good shit.
We get impacts?
We get snap-on impacts,
You're shitting me.
yeah. Air gun.
Okay, question
Not
number
battery
2.
powered one.
You got a drop off receipt?
I'm sorry, what?
Drop receipt?
Uh-uh.
Is there anywhere you wanna?
We got a what? Oh, job offer.
Okay, question number 2, technician A says when the buildings are on, technician should retrieve the diagnostic code, follow the manufacturer recommended procedure to find the root cause. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I said both.
yeah, both. Okay, we're just gonna go with that. Because it
Okay, I
is.
got that.
Ignition misfires, type of what? Is what
Type A.
Type A, okay. U codes are for what?
Communication related system.
Communication. A warm-up cycle.
That is right, A is right.
Okay?
B, I believe is right.
Okay.
Yes, both.
It is, both of
Good,
them.
okay.
Both comprehensive.
Comprehensive component monitor checks computer control devices for what?
Rationality, all of the above.
All of those, functionality, rationality, open, shorts, all kinds of stuff. Number 7 is what? I think number 7 is a question you're gonna have to.
Every other chip?
Know for later.
I couldn't find
Is
that
it A?
one.
It's A?
Cause I
B?
looked
Okay.
at C, D, and A and B, and neither of them said it, what you said?
It's on the test.
Freestream generated where the code, type A or B code is set.
7 is on the test.
Okay. What page is that on?
1023.
See, I read that and I didn't see it. Freeze frame.
Okay, this is a good question to make you think for a second. Number 8, what is the answer to number 8?
Is it C? On page 1025? Did I get it right? I don't know.
Which, are we on 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
ECT?
Who got C for number 8?
Am I the only one?
Who else got C? Did you? For number 8.
Which other one is on the test? Which other one is on
Okay,
the
I wanna make sure you understand this. You got C, right?
That's what I got.
Okay, how did you get C?
Yeah.
That's why I'm going through this. I don't want you to guess. You're right. If it's gonna do a functionality test, it has to be on an output. You can't do a functionality test on inputs. It does a rationality test on inputs, okay? All right.
Which one was
Output.
It's a C transmission.
The elevator, the OB2 diagnostic manager stores
C.
engine data during what?
freeze frame?
Freeze frame. And only enabled.
And was 8 on the test? Is 8 gonna be on the test?
Trip.
So, dude, I'm gonna have like 3 sets of impact.
Yes, it is. This number 8 is.
No.
Okay. 9, what do we got for 9?
Did we-
9,
C.
Freeze frame.
See, we did that, right? Okay, 10.
We did 10 trip.
yeah,
Okay.
we're good.
All right.
Do you know how good it would feel to work one job and not having to work 2 or 3?
That'd be great, won't it?
I just dropped my weekend job. I'm so glad.
Dude, I'm so tired of working 2 or 3 jobs.
I
Seriously.
can imagine.
It sucks.
I've done it before, I know.
And that's like
Yeah.
one of the things that's like, okay, get into nursing. No, I'm not. Like, that's not
It's
gonna
too
happen.
stressful.
It's not only that, but